rock bands have had a greater global impact than Queen. The British act, whose core lineup included Brian May, Roger Taylor, John Deacon, and absolutely iconic frontman Freddie Mercury, emerged from scrappy prog-rock band in the early 1970s to pop-rock superstars in the late 70s to arena rock gods in the 1980s, selling out shows on almost every continent. Queen's greatest hits album from 1981 remains the best-selling album in United Kingdom history, and as of late 2024, it has spent more than 600 weeks on the United States Billboard 200. Queen said at 1985's Live Aid concert at Wembley Stadium is regarded as one of the greatest rock performances of all time. While Queen's golden age ended with the tragic death of Mercury, its legacy lives on more than 30 years later, and if there is any justice, it will never diminish. So join us as the great pop culture debate attempts to name the best Queen single of all time. So you think you can stomp me and spit in my eye? So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Are you every man I've ever dated? If so, then accurate. I'm your host, Eric Resniak. Please welcome my panelists for this episode, some real kings of Queen. Our first panelist is desperately trying to find somebody to love. It's Derek Makita.
Yes, just searching for that fat bottom boy who'll make my rockin' world go round.
Freddie Mercury would approve. Next, he is well acquainted with the terror of knowing what this world is about and is praying that tomorrow gets higher. Please welcome back Zach Derby.
You know, I do feel a little under pressure, but I believe the solution is bail up.
That's okay. And finally, please welcome back to the podcast our very special guest star, John Higgins, the archivist and legacy consultant for Sir Elton John, and a Queen fanatic since first hearing Killer Queen on the radio in 1974. Welcome back, John.
Hello, darling. I found that I needed some help with this bracket, so I reached out to two of my very closest friends, Moe and Shandong.
Well, let's hope these hot Queen takes don't killer your buzz, my friend. And up in the producer booth, we have Curtis Creekmore, who misunderstood the assignment and has been biting dust bunnies all evening. If you're curious about how we ended up with the Sweet 16, become a Patreon supporter of the podcast or listen to the 3-minute preview available wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, you can head to this episode on greatpopculturedebate.com to find the listener bracket as well as all 16 nominated songs so you can play along with us at home. While you're there, check out some of our other related episodes, including Best Song of 1978, Best Elton John Single, and Best Gay Icon. And with that out of the way, we have had our fill of the news of the world, and we are going to rock these Queen debates. First up, the panel has made a unanimous decision to move forward ultimate number 1 seed Bohemian Rhapsody, which meant that the show is actually ending. For 4 seed, the show must go on. But I want to give show a proper curtain call before it bows out. This track, which is off of Queen's 1991 Innuendo album, is actually an incredibly important track from a meta perspective, right? It was written primarily by Brian May, and it is a deliberate response to lead singer Freddie Mercury's losing his battle with HIV/AIDS, a fact which had not been public at the time of the song's creation, although had been highly speculated about. May said that he was concerned that a severely ill Mercury would not be able to handle the demanding vocal of this power ballad. But Freddie, ever the diva, ever the icon, of course nailed it, creating a desperate, searing plea that is powerful on its own. But when you know that he is literally singing this song about pushing through a body that is rapidly abandoning him, yearning to keep performing, it's utterly heartbreaking. I can't speak for my panelists. I'm going to ask them. I suspect this would have advanced over many other matchups in this bracket. Is that true for you, John?
You know, it should be, Eric, but actually, I never took to the song. I just never did. I don't know what the X factor was that was missing. There was a huge Elton connection to this song. He performed it during the Freddie Mercury tribute concert. That was the song, one of the 2 songs he did. Then he took that song and covered it during his 92-93 world tour for like 75 shows, and took one of those performances and put it on a B-side of his single. So there's a direct Elton connection. And no, I would not have given thumbs up to Show Must Go On. What can I tell you?
That's okay. That's all right. Zach, would you have voted against other things, or?
I mean, maybe some of the other songs, I like it, but it certainly wasn't one of the ones that came to mind as the best. I like it, but I wouldn't put it in my personal best. Still a solid Queen song, in my opinion.
Derek, is it just me and you living for the gay faggotry of this? Is that what's happening?
I mean, you're kind of alone on this because Just like in our ABBA episode where I'm like firmly stuck in the 70s, I am firmly stuck in the 70s with Queen. So there are a few select tracks from the 80s that I'm like, we're still solid, but no, it's the 70s Queen for me.
Well, fuck my drag, right? But that being said, it doesn't matter. Bohemian Rhapsody will be continuing into round 2. Next, it's another unanimous decision. Spoiler, we have a lot of these in this debate. In favor of 2-seed Somebody to Love, which meant that 3-seed Killer Queen's chances were blown up with gunpowder, gelatine, dynamite, and possibly also a laser beam. But John, you wanted to let Killer Queen eat at least a little bit of cake, right?
Killer Queen started it for me. I mean, as you said in the intro, and started it for a lot of young fans in 1973, 74. It was impossible to not recognize that song just from the finger clicks. I mean, what other song has done that or has done that so beautifully? So it's the first song of Queen's to chart in America. It reached number 12, but it's a solid start. It's now 4 times platinum in America, so that's not so bad. It's been streamed 950 million times on Spotify. So, it has a following. And it showed Queen's playful, and Freddie's especially playful side, and a little panache in there. People equate it with a Noel Coward song. Not many Americans know who Noel Coward was, but do your research. The thing I want to point out most is that I hope it's not the last time we talk about Brian May's guitar solos.
Yeah.
This is a rock solid, beautifully toned, timed, and executed guitar solo from Brian May.
Yeah, it's a great song. Again, we're dealing with only bangers, no bummers on this one. It also inspired a drag queen from Spain who was on Drag Race España, whose name is Killer Queen. She's actually a doctor, and she does drag, and that's her name. Anyway, there you go. But we will be moving Somebody to Love into round 2. And would you look at that? It's another unanimous decision from our panel, with 1-seed Under Pressure, the duet with David Bowie, ending our relationship with 4-seed You're My Best Friend. But Derek, would you like to bid a fond farewell to Friend?
Yes. So this was released as a single in 1976. It actually debuted on their 1975 album, A Night at the Opera, and hit number 7 on the UK singles chart and number 16 on Billboard's Hot 100. It notably features the iconic sound of a Wurlitzer electric piano, though Freddie famously hated the sound that it made and insisted on playing the song on a grand piano whenever they performed it live. It's a fantastic pop song that just happened to be overshadowed by Bohemian Rhapsody when it was released. And sadly, it also gets overshadowed in this matchup by Under Pressure. So we all agree Under Pressure is the superior track and a far more influential Queen song. But I will say You're My Best Friend has had real pop culture legs. It gets used in countless films and TV shows. So it feels prolific, even if it's not as iconic.
Yeah, agree with that completely. Great job, but we will be moving Under Pressure into round 2. Next, it's an actual debate. What a novel idea for a podcast with debate in its title. As the majority of the panel wanted to keep talking nonsense with 2-seed Radio Gaga, but Derek wants to give the pedal the metal by preferring 3-seed Bicycle Race. Zach, tell us why all you need is Radio Gaga, Radio Goo Goo, Radio Blah Blah. Derek, on your mark, get set, go as you defend Bicycle Race. Derek, please go first.
I know I'm not going to win this one. I have to be honest. I don't have a bike horse in this matchup. These might be my 2 least favorites in the top 16. That said, given a choice between the 2, I still prefer the theatricality of Bicycle Race. It feels like a cool companion to Fat Bottom Girls and gives us a little, air quotes, we didn't start the fire element in his references to religion and Watergate and Vietnam and cocaine and Jaws and Star Wars. Something about the musicality of Radio Gaga is just lacking to me. It doesn't have the iconic panache of 70s Queen, again, going back to my rubric. And I get its importance to the band, especially coming toward the end of Freddie's time with Queen and the iconic Live Aid concert. To me, it sounds like Queen trying to do Pet Shop Boys. And I love Pet Shop Boys, but this just doesn't hit for me sonically, and that's okay.
Okay, well, Zach, talk to us about Radio Gaga.
So what started as, I believe it was Taylor's kind of dig at the radio community because all the kids are now looking to TV and watching this and that, and they felt a bit left behind. His original intention was, all right, screw radio. But the band were actually the ones that really didn't get behind that, and they said, all right, no, let's rewrite this. And then it shifted to, okay, well, now let's try to celebrate radio in some capacity. So it actually did a 180 flip-flop from its original intention, which I did not know until I was looking into it. It's never been my favorite Queen song, because I do agree, a little bit of Pet Shop Boys here and there, but it is catchy, and it speaks to my industry, which I think is why I gravitated a little bit more to it. And I like Bicycle, but there's better Queen songs than Bicycle, in my opinion. And because I might have chosen Bicycle against maybe another song we're going to talk about in a couple brackets, but Radio Gaga for me is the better of these two songs.
All right, John, where are you on this one? Is it Radio Gaga or Bicycle Race?
Let's stick with Radio Gaga, please.
Okay, for 200, Alex. I'm also going to stick with Radio Gaga. I love Bicycle Race, actually. I unironically love it. I think the building chorus to it, I love the building chorus, and this one has a really fun one, and there's a cute little bridge in there, too, that's really charming, a harmonic, but I think Radio Gaga is a more interesting song, so that's why I'm going to give it to Gaga here. Next, it's another unanimous decision, with one seed, Another One Bites the Dust, living up to its name, snuffing out any future adventures for 4-seed Flash, the title single to the 1980 cult classic sci-fi film Flash Gordon. But I want to say that, unlike Ming the Merciless, I'm never bored of Flash. As I have explained a few times on this podcast, the Flash Gordon movie is extremely important to me. I saw it when I was like 3, and it had shocking implications on my psychosexual development. I'm not kidding. Be thoughtful about whatever you're letting your pre-K children watch, as God knows what kinks they're going to develop from that 30 years later. Not a joke. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that Flash is a good song. I'm certainly not going to tell you that it is a better song than Another One Bites the Dust, but I will argue that it was an absolute perfectly campy, aggressively ridiculous theme song for that movie, and I love everything about it. There are precious few lyrics to speak of, and the ones that are there are meaningless. The screaming in the chorus, the aggressive synth, the squealing guitars, and the corny sound effects, the audio clips from the movie being included in the single, the way it just kind of ends. I love all of it. That line, quote, "He's here for every one of us, stand for every one of us," has got such a hook to it. It's just up against Another One Bites the Dust, so I'm afraid it's the boreworms for Flash, not the boreworms. But John Higgins, I know that you are not a fan of this song.
What gave that away? Yeah, I've never seen the film. And during the research for this podcast, I thought, well, let's just watch the film and see if I can. And it was like the rent price was too high for me to make the commitment. The only positive thing I can say is that I'm a fan of the movie Ted. I expect that this is not the first time someone has said this on a cast about Flash. But the resurgence that the movie Ted gave this movie and everything associated with it, I thought was hysterical. So I am Flash adjacent at best.
That's completely fine. I understand. Now we are going to be moving Another One Bites the Dust into round 2. Next, the panel is evenly split between 2 Queen songs about love, or at least lust. 3-seed Fat Bottom Girls and 2-seed Crazy Little Thing Called Love. John, be cool, relax, and tell us why we must get around to A Crazy Little Thing Called Love. I will let it all hang out as I speak from my love of Fat Bottom Girls. John, but do you mind going first?
I'm ready, Freddie. I was stunned to learn that Crazy Little Thing Called Love was the first American #1 single for Queen. And there's only 2 #1 singles in America for Queen. They were both off the same album. The other one was Another One Bites the Dust. You would think Bo Rap, I mean, obviously, or maybe even Somebody to Love. But no, it wasn't until Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Maybe it was the American sort of rockabilly, Elvis Presley sort of vibe that the song put out. It stayed on #1 for 4 weeks. To me, it sort of gave a resurgence to Queen's presence on the charts after the Jazz album and Flash and a couple other things. It's been streamed over 1 billion times on Spotify. Freddie wrote it, according to all reports, in a bathtub in his hotel in Munich while enjoying a bubble bath, which I think is the Freddiest of Freddie.
Yep.
You know, the Mercuryest of Mercury. It was the first song recorded for the album The Game, and it was the only song recorded for the album The Game when it was released as a single. They had not gone back into the studio to record the rest of the album. And somebody told them that it had reached #1 in America. And so they decided that they probably should go back into the studio and finish up that album. Queen's only been on Saturday Night Live once in 1982. It was the first song that they performed on that show. Dwight Yoakam has covered it. But the thing that staggers me the most in the research about Crazy Little Thing Called Love is that there's a lyric in there. She gives me hot and cold fever, then she leaves me in a cold, cold sweat. I don't know if Freddie took this from there, but there is a lyric in a James Brown song, the get on up, but like a sex machine.
Yeah.
You give me fever and a cold sweat.
Oh.
Listen, I think Crazy Little Thing Called Love, if you took the vocals out of it, you probably wouldn't even think of it as a Queen song. Right?
Sure.
But it is a 3.something minute piece of pop perfection. Queen was a number of things, and a great, great pop band is actually one of them, and I'd make no excuses for that.
Totally. And there's nothing to make an excuse about. We love pop. We love rock. And I'm glad we're dipping our toe more into rock on this episode. So let me talk a little bit about Fat Bottom Girls. This one jumps right in with the chorus. And after that sing-along begging harmony ends, you get a great blues guitar and a drum line. It's infectious. I don't know this to be true, but I suspect the lyrics of the song are highly polarizing to different audiences. I can see certain women not loving being referred to as, quote, big fat fatty or, quote, blue-eyed floozy. I mean, it suits me just fine, but it is at its core a song about body positivity, as songwriter Brian May was one of pop music's earliest influencers in the area of embracing curvy lasses. Would Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back exist without Fat Bottom Girls? We may never know, but we do know that Queen was a trendsetter in this area. It was also popular. In the United States, it was a top 25 single on the Billboard Hot 100, and in the UK, it peaked at number 11 on the singles charts. As a self-identified thickums, I personally consider this blues rocker a personal mantra, and I groove to it every time it's on. Fat Bottom Girls, you really do make the rocking world go round, but I need to ask Zach, where are you? You're going to be with Fat Bottom Girls, or you're going to be with Crazy Little Thing Called Love?
As my wife tells me frequently and can attest to, Fat Bottom Girls makes the rockin' world go round.
It's settled law, basically, is what we're saying. Yeah. Derek McKidd, is a Crazy Little Thing Called Love, or is it Fat Bottom Girls?
I think it's very insulting that we're putting Fat Bottom Girls against Crazy Little Things, but
yes,
you know, what do I know? No, it's Crazy Little Thing Called Love for me.
Okay, so we're stuck, and when we're stuck, we go to the seeds. Crazy Little Thing Called Love is a 2 seed, Fat Bottom Girls is a 3 seed, so Crazy Little Thing Called Love will continue into round 2. Next, the majority of the panel wants to continue the momentum of 1 seed Don't Stop Me Now, but John wants 4 seed I Want It All, and he wants it now. Derek, show us why they call you Mr. Fahrenheit and Burn Through the Sky while defending Don't Stop Me Now. John, I know you have a game plan, and you're going to shake it to the ground as you defend I Want It All. John, please go first.
This was written by guitarist Brian May. Queen is the only band in existence to have a number 1 song somewhere in the world written by each of its band members, which is to say that I Want It All is a song that most people think would have been written by Freddie, but it was in fact written by Brian May, his girlfriend at the time, then second wife, Anita Dobson, who was a popular British actress. Have any of us seen the EastEnders? Mm-hmm. One of her favorite phrases, just to sort of spontaneously go with, is, I want it all and I want it now. So Brian took that and ran with it. Hit number 3 in the UK, hit number 50 in America. I don't understand that at all. Top 10 in 7 different countries. To me, this song makes my heart break, as much of this research did for this pod, because Freddie never got a chance to sing this on stage. He was too ill. They'd stopped touring by the time they recorded this song. But listeners and friends here on the podcast, stop what you're doing right now and go on YouTube and search for the a cappella version of I Want It All. I mean, I'll wait. I mean, it's unbelievable what Freddie did just a couple of years before he finally succumbed to AIDS. It's an aggressive, staggeringly wonderful performance. It's another one of the Queen anthems that sort of took on different meanings, lives. The Black community has sort of taken it as an anthem at certain times. The gay community, I'm sure, has. So it is bigger than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, it also, I see it used constantly in commercials now, too, as many Queen songs are. But great job. Derek, can you talk to us about Don't Stop Me Now?
Yeah, I mean, Don't Stop Me Now is a bop and a banger. In 2014, readers of Rolling Stone voted Don't Stop Me Now their third favorite Queen song. So it certainly has the chops to be a strong contender in our final four. It was released as a single in 1979. It has gone on to be certified platinum, not just here in the US and in the UK, but also in many other countries around the world. The multi-track vocal harmonies in the chorus is so quintessential Queen. And even though it was only a minor hit at the time of its release, like so many Queen songs, Don't Stop Me Now's pop culture cachet only continues to grow. Been featured in countless films, commercials, and TV shows over the last 4 decades. Brian May was originally not a fan of this song because he felt like it reinforced Freddie's hedonism and that his hedonism was getting out of control. In fact, up to now, it was only ever performed live in 1979. But Brian has since come around to embracing Don't Stop Me Now because it has been so widely accepted by the general public. For me, it's that infectious hedonistic joy that's so catchy and, in my opinion, why it earns its place in the top. Simply one of their best.
Great. Zach, is it going to be Don't Stop Me Now, or is it going to be I Want It All?
I am going to go with I Want It All, and I do want it now.
Okay, so we're actually split here.
Yes.
I'm going to stick with Don't Stop Me Now. When I think about this is actually the Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka, basically life mottos put into 2 different songs, right? I Want It All and Don't Stop Me Now. We are tied. Don't Stop Me Now is the 1 seed, and I Want It All is the 4, so we will be moving Don't Stop Me Now into round 2. Finally, in round 1, the bulk of the panel wants to keep fighting to the end with 2 seed We Are the Champions, but John has fallen in love with 2 seed I Want to Break Free. Zach, tell us why there's no time for losers. We Are the Champions must advance to round 2. John, it's strange, but it's true. You're going to have to work hard to sway votes for I Want to Break Free. John, please go first.
Queen's secret weapon. Let me try that again. Queen's secret weapon. Very hard to say, was John Deacon, their bass player. He wrote this song. He wrote You're My Best Friend, which we've discussed before. He wrote another one, Bites the Dust. And he came up with the core hook for Under Pressure. And albeit Ice Ice Baby.
I was going to say.
I don't know if he got, well, he probably didn't get money for that.
I'm sure he did.
As Brian May said in an interview, John Deacon didn't write many songs, but most of them sure counted. I think this is, again, a classic 80s pop song. It went to number 3 in the UK. It went on to number 10 in 7 different territories, including number 1 in a few countries in Europe. The problem is the video. And I say that because the American reaction to the video was so, well, basically non-existent because MTV banned it.
Yep.
Because the cross-dressing element in it.
Yep.
Cross-dressing is a much more accepted and even welcomed behavior in the entertainment industry in England. God bless them. And America just didn't know how to handle it. So it peaked at number 45 in America, and there's been no single of Queen's since then that has reached the top 40 in America.
Wow.
Until after Freddie's death.
Huh.
So my question to you is, how in good conscience can we vote against this song? I mean, it's been done dirty by so many others. I think it's a great Everly Brothers song. If you take away sort of the structure of it, or not the structure, but the mechanics of it, you can hear the Everly Brothers sing it. And there's a friend of mine who's played for Elton named Fred Mandel. He's a synthesizer player on this song. And that solo in this song is not a guitar. It's a synthesizer. It's a Jupiter 8 synthesizer with a shift shift wheel on it. Fred Mandel did that solo in 1 take on a first take.
Wow. I love it. I love this type of information. Thank you so much, John. That's a great argument. Zach, can you talk to us about We Are the Champions?
Of course. This is another one of Queen's songs with worldwide success. Number 2 in the UK, number 4 here in the US on the Billboard Top 100, number 3 up in Canada, number 10 in a number of other countries. In 2009, inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, voted the world's favorite song in 2005 with Sony Ericsson World Music Poll. It has been released a few different times. From 77 to 78, it reached number 2 in the singles chart for UK. Commonly played at every sporting event, freaking everywhere, wherever you go. Many times a celebratory song. Let's see. It was streamed, since everyone's pulling up streaming numbers, now I have to figure this out. Streamed 1.7 billion times, over 246 million views between YouTube and Spotify. It has gone platinum in Denmark, Germany, Spain, United Kingdom, platinum in the United States for the 77 vinyl release, 2 times platinum in Italy, and then 4 times platinum on the 2003 digital release. And also, I think there's an argument here to be made that without this song, we would have lost an entire generation's interest in hockey. Because this song was used instrumentally, not just in 1, but 2 Mighty Duck videos. And it brought in teens and kids and families to watch the NHL. Where would we be today, hockey fans, without We Are the Champions? I ask you.
You better walk that fucking duck. That's what I have to say. Derek Makita, is it going to be We Are the Champions or I Want to Break Free?
That's awfully powerful for an ostensibly a Bruins fan, I'm going to assume. I am sticking with We Are the Champions only because I think it's also a double vote for We Will Rock You, in my opinion, which isn't in the brackets. So I'm like piggybacking it onto that by voting for it. So that's what gets my vote.
Yeah, and to clarify that, when we were initially doing the poll for this, I believe they might have been lumped together because most radio stations played them as one mega single. That was probably, in hindsight, a terrible decision on my part, and I will go ahead and take those lumps. That's a good point. Thank you very much, Derek. John, I think you did a beautiful job talking about I Want to Break Free. The video, I always assumed that it was Freddie's idea to do the cross-dressing video. He hated it. He didn't even want to come out of the dressing room. He hated everything about it. But it's one of those pieces of Freddie iconography now, right? Like, you can't get away from it. But I can't put it over We Are the Champions. I'm so sorry. So we're moving champions into round 2, and that's the end of round 1. We're going to take a quick break to enjoy a night at the opera. We'll be right back.
Is Captain Picard objectively the best Star Trek captain? Did The Sopranos really need that ending? These are the questions that keep us up at night. Welcome to the Great Pop Culture Debate, where passion meets pedantry. We dissect, we digress, and occasionally we devolve into glorious geeky chaos. But we can't do it without you. Support the Great Pop Culture Debate on Patreon and unlock a treasure trove of bonus content, early access to episodes, exclusive bonus debates, and the chance to finally weigh in on that great Die Hard Christmas movie debate. Is it? Is it? Join the conversation. Support the Great Pop Culture Debate on Patreon, because some debates, well, they just need to happen.
And we are back for round 2 of our Best Queen single debate. Before we get to the Elite 8, I'd like my panelists to share their social media accounts and what else they're working on. Derek Makita, where can people find you? What are you doing?
Yes, you can find me on Blue Sky at DRKMKT. If you want to chat with the rest of us, you should also become a Patreon member so you can chat with us on our very, very active Discord. We have lots of opinions and we love sharing them. What am I working on? I'm still just working on myself, and damn it, that's enough.
It is. You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people love you. Thank you very much. Zach, you're a rock guy. This is a perfect episode for you. Where can people find you, and what else are you working on?
You can find me at my real job up in New Hampshire with 104.9 The Hawk, or you can stream through thehawkrocks.com. We're a classic rock station. It's what I grew up with, my parents listening to, oldies and classic rock. And that's where I am, usually every weekday afternoon, rocking out with my Hawk out. Yep. That's a
Freddie
phrase.
would love it. Absolutely.
He would. For the more creative content, for having fun, I work with the fine people at We Can Make This Work. Probably network, where podcasters assemble and disassemble, where we talk about movies, whether it's a whole series or the occasional one-off, which Eric, you, and Bob have joined us before, and we will certainly have you back. But we are going to be talking about Back to the Future this year. We're going to do a season on that where people can submit their entries, and we'll do the, this is the 80s, 90s style talking point. And that's what we're working on right now, just having fun talking movies.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being on this episode with us. John Higgins, welcome back. It's such a delight. He was on our Best Elton John single episode as, literally Elton John's archivist. And when I told him we were working on a Queen episode, he got very excited. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for having me. If I hadn't latched my wagon to Elton's career, I probably would have gone off the deep end on Queen.
Sure.
I took on to them both at the same time.
Where can people find you? What else are you working on?
I am unfindable, except on eltonjohn.com. I write a feature article every month on Elton's website, so anything with my byline on it, I've written. But I wanted to sort of hijack this segment for a moment just to talk about the close relationship that Elton had with Queen and especially Freddie Mercury.
Please do, yeah.
They were the closest of friends. When Night at the Opera and A Day at the Races came out, John Reed, Elton John's manager, who was obviously doing very well with his client at the time, became Queen's manager. And Elton and Freddie became very good friends. Elton gives female names to his male friends, which, as I understand it, is a thing.
Absolutely. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Elton gave the name Melina to Freddie after the actress Melina Mercury. So Elton was Sharon. Honestly, I don't know why. Freddie was Melina. And Rod Stewart was also a very close friend with both of them. Rod was called Phyllis. And
he would be a Phyllis, yeah.
He's a Phyllis through and through. They would pal around and would occasionally, in drunken moments, suggest to each other that they form a supergroup called Nose, Teeth, and Hair. Rod Stewart nose, Freddie teeth, Elton's hair.
Love it.
One other little tidbit, at Live Aid, either at the show or the rehearsals, Elton set up a barbecue backstage, like in the parking lot backstage. And there are photographs. Go online, Google it. There are photographs of Elton and Freddie Mercury, like eating hamburgers next to a barbecue pit at Live Aid. So, as I said before, there was the Mercuryest of Mercuries, and a crazy little thing called love. The most un-Freddie thing you could think of is to be sitting backstage eating hamburgers at a barbecue pit with Elton John. I just think it's a great sort of intimate thing, non-rock star thing.
I feel like that should be a play, like Waiting for Godot, Burgers with Elton John, but we'll workshop it.
And there were only 35 people that attended Freddie's funeral. Elton was one of them. He presented a large wreath of pink roses in the shape of a heart with a note that said, "Thank you for being my friend. I will love you always."
The whole thing is heartbreaking, honestly. Thank you so much for sharing that. This is a weird thing to say, but I'm hoping that this conversation brings more awareness back to the AIDS crisis that we went through as a planet. And I fear with the changes that are happening right now with government funding, could very easily find ourselves back in again. So thank you for raising that issue. And it's good to know at least he had Elton in his corner during his time on Earth. Thank you again, John. It's such a pleasure to have you back. The best place to follow us is on Blue Sky at gpcd.bsky.social or at gpcd on Mastodon. You should also make sure to subscribe to our page on YouTube, where we're going to be posting more original video content this year. But what you really need to do is sign up for our weekly newsletter, new every Tuesday at noon. It tells you about everything coming out in pop culture that week. Sign up by finding the link on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or via our link tree on any of our social media accounts. Now, let's make it a day at the races and move into round two. First up, the majority of the panel is still feeling the fantasy of one-seed Bohemian Rhapsody, but John is searching for two-seed Somebody to Love. John, I know you work hard. He works hard every day of your life. You work till you ache your bones, but see how much more you can push for Somebody to Love. Derek, Scaramouche, can you do a fandango? And beyond that, can you make sure that Bohemian Rhapsody continues into the Final Four? John, please go first.
I'm just stunned that you can tell I'm working hard from here. Listen, I'm no idiot. I'm probably not going to win this one. And I don't even feel I want to. But Somebody to Love reached into me much deeper than, again, I was alive when all this was happened. Raise your hand. Anybody else was alive when this was actually going on in the 70s?
Late 70s, yes. I'm a 78.
So I went through the onslaught of Bohemian Rhapsody, which was marvelous and wonderful. But Somebody to Love was a more pure song to me than Bo Rap ever was. And also, Freddie has been quoted as saying, from his point of view, as far as the writing side of it, he thought that Somebody to Love was an actual better song in terms of songwriting than Bohemian Rhapsody. The time signature, not to get all wonky on you, is 12/8.
Wow.
Most rock songs, 4/4, the occasional 3/4 waltz. This is a 12/8. It wasn't the only 12/8. We Are the Champions is also in 12/8. But it's got this wonderful lilting, but yet thrusting at the same time beat to it after that choral intro, which was 100 voices, overdubbed. 3 people turned into 100 voices for the beginning choral intro. The other thing, much, much later, during the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, can we give a hey, hey to George Michael?
Yeah, thank you.
What he did with this song was, I'll put it this way. Everybody says that Queen was the most important live act of Live Aid. Mm-hmm. So what Queen was to Live Aid, George Michael was to that tribute concert. He took that song and elevated it to a whole other level. And his version reached #1 in the UK when it was released on an EP in 1993. So it's a song that again was something that I could listen to and enjoy on more levels than I could Bohemian Rhapsody, just because of the sort of grandioseness of rap.
Sure. But a couple things on that. Number one, when I am looking for somebody to love, the measurement's 12/8 will go a long way for me. Secondly,
well done. We
I know it was right there, and I had to wait to come in with that, so I want some credit. Will you? Secondly, I have been derided by people in my life for saying that I frankly sometimes prefer the George Michael version of Somebody to Love. That is a bold statement, is a hot take indeed. But obviously, the original is incredible. Derek Makita, speaking of incredible things that are original, talk to us about Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus, this could be easily a final 2 matchup, right?
Totally.
They're absolute titans. I take nothing away from Somebody to Love in voting for Bohemian Rhapsody here. To me, the idea that Bohemian Rhapsody doesn't make it to the final 2 is unconscionable. It may be the ultimate pepperoni and Ursula rolled into one, but that's for a reason, right? I don't think there is a more iconic Queen song, period. The song has spawned countless pop culture moments, including the famous scene in Wayne's World, which itself has been mentioned on several episodes of this podcast. It's like GPCD Inception at this point. It was my entry into their deep catalog about 30 years ago, and I can't imagine a world of music without Bohemian Rhapsody existing. One day in the mid-90s, my father, who was not a Queen fan per se, told me to grab a CD and listen to this one track. He had never gone out of his way before to introduce me to a song or a band. Most of my appreciation for music before my time came from osmosis, from being around my parents' music so much. This one song is a core memory of my father because he must have known instinctively that it would be something I'd enjoy. Was he testing his queer son to trying on some level to meet me halfway? I'll never know.
Gay.
But this one song, operatic, theatrical, original, bombastic, is a creation of musical genius that's rarely seen. It paints with such beautiful, haunting colors, and it deserves its place here. We'll get to the facts and stats in the end, but for right now, it's the right choice.
Great. These are both wonderful arguments. Zach, is it going to be Somebody to Love or is it going to be Bohemian Rhapsody?
This was very tough, and I could be happy with either one going forward, but I will go with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I agree with Derek's point that this could easily be a final 2 because these are both quintessential Queen songs. John, are you okay if we take Somebody to Love out at this point?
Yes, just another Elton shout out. When John Reid, managing both Elton and Queen at the same time, told Elton that Bohemian Rhapsody was going to be the next single, and it was 6 minutes long, and he played it for him, Elton, not the first or last person probably to do this, turned to him and said, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
There's actually a great story about how they got it as the next single, so we will probably talk about that when we get to the final 4, so thank you very much. Next, it's another 3-1 split, with the bulk of the panel feeling the push of 1 seed Under Pressure, but John is again the odd man out, preferring to tune into 2-seed Radio Gaga. Derek, don't turn away from it like a blind man. Tell us why pressure is on people on streets. John, you've yet to have your finest hour, but you might if you can sway the votes for Radio Gaga. Derek, please go first.
So I've spoken about Radio Gaga not being for me, and guess what? It's still not my jam. Under Pressure, on the other hand, belongs to a rarefied group of Queen songs that are so influential and recognizable, so undeniably Queen. It was only their second #1 hit in the UK. So undeniably Bowie, it was only his third number one hit in the UK. It's certified platinum around the world several times over. Is it pop? Yes, it is. Is it rock? Yes, it is. Is it the reason we even know who Vanilla Ice is? Yes, it is. That bass line, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that it is the most iconic bass line in music history. Even people who may have never heard the song in its entirety would recognize it. What it really boils down to, a duet between Freddie and Bowie in ways both quiet and powerful, a song that has stood the test of time and continues to inspire artists to this day. I can't say the same for Radio Gaga, which, while powerful for its representation of Queen and Freddie's waning days, doesn't have the gravitas in this particular matchup.
That being said, John Higgins, can you talk to us about Radio Gaga?
As soon as I recover from the word gravitas. Hello. Gaga, written by Roger Taylor, Queen's drummer, a number one song in 19 countries. Hello. Number 2 in the UK, 2 times platinum. Only reached number 16 in the US, but still not so bad. It was the last song to appear on the Billboard Top 40 during Freddie's lifetime. Listen, it has at least 2 lives, Radio Gaga. And the second one was during Live Aid. Again, I don't work for YouTube. I don't get a commission for driving people to YouTube. But if you haven't watched reaction videos to the Queen performance at Live Aid, which again is generally regarded as one of the best, if not the best live rock and roll performance ever. Gaga was the second song played during that set. And if you watch the reactioneers, what are these people called? That's when they lose their shit. When the camera is behind Freddie looking out into the audience and to see the filled Wembley Stadium doing the hand clap, you can't see this on a podcast, folks, but you clap, extend your arms above your head. Oh my God. Every time I see it, and I saw it when it happened on TV. I've seen it many times since. I can't get over it. It is an amazing, amazing relationship between the artist and the audience. I'm actually getting emotional just thinking about it. I could say many more things about the song. I don't think it's going to sway any of you guys. I think it's more of a Queen song than Under Pressure is, to be fair, just because Bowie sort of dilutes the song, even though Bowie's amazing. So to me, Gaga is more of a pure Queen song. But if nothing else, even if you vote for Under Pressure, and even if you've seen it before, watch Queen's performance on Live Aid.
That's a really good point about the purity of Radio Gaga versus Under Pressure, because one is a duet. But Zach, I'm curious, where are you going here? Is it Under Pressure or Radio Gaga?
Oh, gosh. I like both songs, and watching the reactions of the crowd for Radio Gaga, and really if you go back and watch any reaction to Queen, the fans are amazing, and you get sucked into it. For me, though, it has always been Under Pressure with the collaboration of Bowie and Freddie together. I do agree that it does change the dynamic of the song. Is it Queen? Yes. Is it Bowie? Yes. But it's also different because even though Freddie did majority of the writing, the entire band, everyone was involved. If you have not done a collaboration best of, do one, because this is definitely, I think, in the ranking for that. So I'm going to stick with Under Pressure.
I love that idea. We're going to do that episode. God damn it, Zach. Thank you. You swayed me, John. I think the argument that Radio Gaga is a quintessential and it is explicitly a Queen song versus Under Pressure being a mix. Listen, Under Pressure it got incredible staying power. I believe it was the opening song for Grey's Anatomy 300 years ago when that show started. It keeps getting used constantly in pop culture. It is very, very famous, but it does not sound like a Queen song. Radio Gaga is unmistakably a Queen song. Doesn't matter. It's a split decision, and Under Pressure is the 1 seed, so that will continue into the Final Four. Next, are you ready? Are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Because we have unanimous decision in round 2 with 1 seed, Another One Bites the Dust, breaking the heart of 2 seed, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Finally, in round 2, it looks like 1 seed, Don't Stop Me Now, may have conquered 2 seed, We Are the Champions, although I believe John is sticking with Champions in this case. Is that true, John?
That is correct, sir.
Just not a fan of the stopping.
No, I think the dynamics of We Are the Champions are top shelf. I think Don't Stop Me Now, not so much with the dynamics. I
Okay.
hate to say this, and I'm sure somebody will argue against that and prove me wrong. Also, again, I was a teenager when Champions came out, and I listened to it real time. By the time Don't Stop Me Now came out, I had sort of lost touch with Queen a little bit.
Sure.
Wasn't the only one, certainly not in America. Worldwide, they'd sort of had a little bit of a dip.
Yep.
So,
Zach, are you sticking with Don't Stop Me Now?
I will stick with Don't Stop Me Now.
Derek, you sticking with Don't Stop Me Now?
I am, yes.
All right, so that will advance, and that is it, folks. We have a final four. We're going to take a quick break to work a kind of magic, specifically the wizardry of capitalism. We'll be right back after these ads.
Welcome, seekers of knowledge, to the hallowed halls of the great pop culture debate archives. Are you yearning for deeper understanding of the cinematic universe? Perhaps a spirited discussion on the merits of 80s cartoons? Or maybe you simply wish to settle once and for all the age-old question, is cereal soup? Our extensive collection of episodes awaits you, each one a treasure trove of passionate arguments, insightful analysis, and the occasional, shall we say, spirited disagreement. From the epic battles of fandom to the quiet contemplation of artistic merit, you'll find it all within our digital stacks. So come explore our full library of episodes at greatpopculturedebate.com. Your quest for pop culture enlightenment begins here.
And we are back with the final four of our best Queen single debate. At this point in the show, I always like to take a step back and see if it shook out the way I expected it to. I also like to add at this point that no matter which option wins, we are celebrating all of these entries, and I hope that nobody gets salty about what comes next. I often say on this podcast that it's rare that we get all 4 1 seeds into the final four. I have to stop saying that because it's happening a lot this season, and we have all 4 1 seeds. It's Bohemian Rhapsody versus Under Pressure. Another one Bites the Dust versus Don't Stop Me Now. I would like to start at the top of the pack with Derek Makita. Is it Bohemian Rhapsody or Under Pressure?
It is still Bohemian Rhapsody for me.
John Higgins, is it Bohemian Rhapsody or Under Pressure for you?
it is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Zach, Bohemian Rhapsody or Under Pressure?
I have to be the black sheep and go Under Pressure. I have to.
Okay.
It's just that duet. I love the power of Bowie and Freddie together.
They sound amazing together. It is an incredible duet, and we will do that collaboration entry. I'm giving it to Bohemian Rhapsody. We have not really talked about it yet, really at all. So if everybody doesn't mind, I'm going to take a moment to, walk the children through nature. Has there ever been another pop song that sounds like Bohemian Rhapsody? If there was ever a grand guignol rock song, it is this. It is a bizarre collection of lyrics, tempos, dynamics, instrumentation, so wild that at one point wind chimes are deployed. It is highly referential of classical opera and yet wholly original in the time and place in which it was released, mid-70s United Kingdom. Bohemian Rhapsody's place in music history cannot be overstated. First, it's tremendously successful. A single off 1975's A Night at the Opera, the band had to resort to trickery and chicanery to get the label to release it as a single. They thought it was too long and too weird, so they slipped a copy to a DJ, swore him to not play it, and of course, Zach, I'm sure you can chime in on this, a radio DJ is like, yeah, fuck you, I'm going to play whatever I want. Is that correct, Zach?
Not so much anymore, but back in the day, you could do that.
Yeah, so he played it like umpteen times over one weekend. Everyone called him, was like, when is this single being released? And there you go. It became an instant hit, topping the British charts for 9 weeks and ultimately becoming the third best-selling single of all time in the United Kingdom and the best-selling single in that country's history that did not directly benefit a charity. It is the only single in history to sell more than 1 million copies in 2 separate releases, and it has periodic resurgences in pop culture thanks to its featured spot in the 1992 Wayne's World movie, which Derek mentioned, and again when the Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody was released in the 2010s. Bohemian Rhapsody is also largely credited with the invention of the music video. While bands may have created them prior, the Bruce Gowers directed video for this song, based on imagery from the Queen 2 album cover and filmed in just 3 hours, was heavily used to promote the song years before MTV ever existed. The Guardian ranks the Bohemian Rhapsody video as number 31 on its list of 50 key events in rock music. That being said, I believe we are 3-1 for Bo Rap. Is that what we're calling it, John Higgins? Is that its Christian name, Bo Rap? Yes, okay. So it will continue into the final 2. Another one Bites the Dust versus Don't Stop Me Now. I'm going to start with Zach. Where are you on this one?
Oh gosh, this was a tough one. This is really where my first panel got a little borked up here. Because I did have Don't Stop Me Now going ahead, but I'm going to flip to Another One Bites the Dust here.
Okay. John Higgins, is it Another One Bites the Dust or is it Don't Stop Me Now? I think I have an answer for you, but go ahead.
Yeah, Another One Bites the Dust. I'm so happy to see you come over to the proper side of things there. If for no other reason, and there's many reasons for this song, but again, John Deacon came up with the bass line for this, iconic bass line, and it was based on Good Times by Chic. Not something you would think
Nope.
With a Queen song, but there you have it.
And I love it. As soon as you said that, I instantly heard it. That's incredible. Derek Makita, is it Another One Bites the Dust or Don't Stop Me Now?
Yeah, I think I'm flipping to Another One Bites the Dust just for what's the word I'm looking for? I'm picking it for the iconic nature of it, but also in the fact that it was so prolific in inspiring other songs. I think Don't Stop Me Now is a great song, but I don't think it has the same legs.
Yeah, and it's funny you say legs because when I think of Another One Bites the Dust, it's that great strutting down the street. This song is cunty, and I think that Freddie Mercury would be really happy to have it described as such. I'm making it a clean sweep, John Higgins. I'm doing it. I'm flipping to the side, and it's going to be a universal Bohemian Rhapsody versus Another One Bites the Dust, and I would actually like John to make the determination which one wins.
Wow, stunning. Listen, I'd love to be contrary. Actually, when I filled out the bracket, I was contrary. I had Radio Gaga as the number one Queen single. Just fuck you. But Bo Rap is an onslaught that one cannot, is a tsunami. And both in terms of its song itself and the structure of it and the audacity, copyright, of it. But also, again, as you mentioned, the cultural implications of it. So, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Thank you. Bo Rap. Zach, is it going to be Bohemian Rhapsody or Another One Bites the Dust?
Gosh, I would love to see Another One Bites the Dust go in there, but between the two, I think Bo Rap edges out just a little bit. They're both iconic. They're both recognizable. As soon as you hear either one, you know it. But I think Bohemian Rhapsody, it's just so unique. It just edges out Another One Bites the Dust. Derek
Makita, is it Bohemian Rhapsody or Another One Bites the Dust?
Yep. If you were to stop somebody on the street and ask them, name me a Queen song, it's going to be Bohemian Rhapsody. It just is.
I would have to go back and look at every time we've done a music episode in which there's a biopic of the artist and how often the name of the biopic is also the song that gets picked. I think it's pretty close.
Yes, spoiler, not the Whitney episode.
No, that's true. But yeah, here's the thing. Bohemian Rhapsody is both an amazing pop song, but it's also a masterwork of musicality, right? It is both high and low culture at the same time. It's so rare when those two things really congeal in that way. It's such a special song. It's amazing that we have it, honestly. It is genuinely stunning, and it remains so. What is it, 50 years? This is the 50th anniversary, of Bohemian Rhapsody. So there you have it, folks. Our pick for the best Queen single is Bohemian Rhapsody. Do you agree? Do you think we should carry on because nothing really matters? Tell us how you really feel by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or find us on Blue Sky or Mastodon. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast so you can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. I want to say thank you to my panel. You're all some of the best friends I've ever had. And thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get even more exclusive content and you get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one. And remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. Beelzebub has the devil put aside for me, and frankly, I hope he's filthy.
Bismillah.